Today we are going to do a lesson from English, Unit 1. This is the first chapter of this book, where the mind is without fear. First, we will see about the poet Rabindranath Tagore. He was born on May 7, 1861, in Calcutta, which is currently called Kolkata. He died in the year 7th August 1941. As you would see, that he died before the country got independence. And this poetry that we will be doing today, it's based completely on the fact of Tagore living in a British ruled India, and this entire poetry is based on the freedom of that country and the way the author wants to see um, India as. So he wrote this poem based on the issues he was seeing and facing at that point of time in his life. Okay, this poem has 11 lines in total. These lines are divided into stanzas as we normally expect with other poetries. Okay, so what is happening is basically this poetry is not written as a normal poetry. It is not as in stanzas, it does not rhyme. Okay, the whole reason or the whole concept of him writing this poetry is the fact that a normal person reading these stanzas should be able to understand. Coming to the poetry, we'll first go through the poetry. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of water where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Into the dreary desert sand of dead habits, where the mind is led forward by thee, into into ever winding thoughts and actions, into the heavens of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. We will go through this poetry line by line. We'll first see the first 4 lines. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Here the poet has started to imagine what his country would be like. He thinks that none of his countrymen should have to live in fear. The reason behind this is, at the time that Tagore was writing this poetry, India was being ruled by British forces. And most people in India were living in fear. There could be various reasons. It was weapons that were used by the British forces. It was the way they ruled. Everybody knows about the fact how the Britishers ruled, and one of the main things that they did was they divided and conquered us. Okay? He also feels that his countrymen should live with their heads held high, and they should be proud of who they are. At that point of time, being an Indian was not the greatest thing in the world because most people in India were treated as slaves. And if you were of Indian origin and for any reason if you traveled abroad, there was a very high chance that there would be people who would discriminate against you. In other words, being an Indian or having dark skin was not something that people would take as pride. Today, in current India, if somebody says we are Indian, we take that with pride. We are very proud of what we are and who we are. But at that point of time, when this poetry was written, that was not the case. In the second line, Tagore says, where knowledge is free. As you would know, at that point of time, knowledge was not, or education rather, was not for everyone. Today also, education is not free. People still have to pay a huge sums of amount to get educated. But there is not much restrictions on who can get educated. Back then, it was not like that. Okay, so in this line, he says that he also feels education should be for everyone. Okay, there should be no biastism where it is based on a particular educational institute only taking admissions of a certain caste or religion or a financial background. Um, this should not be the case, because according to Tagore, knowledge is what will build the country. And if everybody has knowledge or everybody has education, we can expect that the country will be a better place to stay in. Okay, coming to line 3, where the world has not been broken up into fragments. Here, fragments means small pieces. Here, he believes that people should be one and not fight with each other for power. Since at that time, different regions in India were fighting among themselves for power over the other regions. So, what happened at that point of time was um, different states. For example, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, a part of Maharashtra, was known as CP and Bera. Okay, so over the time, you see the states have gone further subdivided into different states, what we know now as Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Maharashtra. But at that point of time, most of India was ruled by different kingdoms, and they used to fight among themselves for power. So Tagore says that he does not want to see an India which is broken up into pieces. He wants all of us to come and stand together. And in the fourth line, as he says, the narrow fragments are by narrow domestic walls. By narrow domestic walls, the poet uses these words, domestic walls, to describe the different regions of India. He wishes that we should fight together against a common enemy, which at that point of time was the British who were ruling India. So he does not want to he does not want us to fight amongst ourselves. He would rather see us get together and fight against the British who were ruling us at that point of time. Okay, so in the first four lines, as we can see, Tagore's made it very clear from his first line itself that what he wants from his fellow countrymen. He wants us to be free. He wants us to be proud of who we are. He wants education or knowledge to be common for everyone, and everybody should have access to that. He also states that we should not fight amongst ourselves. We should get together as one nation, as one country, and we should fight against the British. Coming to line 5, where the words come out of the depth of truth. Here, the poet thinks that in the India he has dreamt about, everyone should speak the truth and no one should lie. Now, this is a very important line. See, what happens is there's a point of time in life is where people speak the truth, and the main reason for a person speaking a lie is a person who has fear in his heart or fear in his mind. So, If you are fearful of somebody, if you have something to hide from somebody else, is when you would speak a lie. So what Tagore is saying here is he wants everyone to speak the truth from the depth. Here he's talking about that a person should always speak the truth. He should never be able to have any fear in his mind or heart. He should never be able to hide something, because if you are not hiding something and you have no fear, you will always talk the truth. He also goes on in the next line and says, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Here, he is talking about every man should make an effort to improve himself and keep trying till he or she reaches self perfection. What he's trying to say is every human being should try and keep on improving, keep on learning, keep on expanding. When you talk about striving stretches over here, he's talking about a person stretching his comfort level. And by stretching our comfort level, we should try and gain as much knowledge as we can. And this indirectly would help us become a more perfect or a better person, which indirectly will help the country and help the region. Next line, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Here, he also imagines the reason to improve to be like a clear stream of water, where the person does not have to face many obstacles along the way. Okay, so as we would see how water, if you see a little stream of water flowing through the rocks, what happens is the rocks do block the path, but the water will always make a path for himself and will keep on flowing. After a certain time, you will find that this water, when it has no dirt to accumulate, the stream becomes very clear and very clean. This is the way Tagore wants every person to be like. He wants us to be able to flow through life. Life is not that easy. You will get obstacles in life. But what he's trying to say is we should be able to move through these obstacles. We should be able to find a way. And if we keep on doing this, we will always be clear as water, clear of heart and clear of mind. And when we are clear of heart and we are clear of mind, we will always find a way to overcome these obstacles and move ahead in life. Coming to line 8, into the dreary desert sand of dead habits. It's a very important line. Here, the poet compares people's habits to a desert and says that the stream of reason gets lost in this desert of habits. The poet believes that because of the habits that we have, we do not want to improve ourselves. We are happy with the way we are. He also refers to the fact that a lot of people in India are superstitious and don't want to believe in logic and reason. We'll go a few lines back and we'll see how Tagore wanted everybody to have education. The reason he talks about education is once a person is educated, he is able to see life more with logic and reason. Here we are not driven by superstition. Superstition is also something that a person blindly believes in without actually thinking about that particular situation logically. So here Tagore says that he's comparing a person to a desert sand. Now, if a stream of water goes through desert sand, what will happen is the sand will absorb the water and the stream will end. So he is saying that this sand is like dead habits of people, the superstition that they have. Okay. And even if a person is able to gain knowledge, once this knowledge meets superstition, the person loses all the reason to logic and reason with that problem. So Tagore says he does not want um, his countrymen to be like that. Okay, moving to the next line. Where the mind is led forward by thee. Here, where thee in the poetry means God. So in this line, the poet speaks to God directly and prays to him to lead his countrymen. Okay. Indirectly, what we see here is even though Tagore has said that knowledge um, will help us go ahead in life, however, he over here says that believing in God is very important. Here it shows that he himself believes in God and he's praying to God directly to guide his countrymen in the coming days or in the path ahead. Okay, so the next line, into ever winding thoughts and actions. The poet wants his countrymen to be led by God so that they can broaden their horizon of both their thoughts and their actions. So you see how this is interrelated? Knowledge and belief in God will help a person broaden the way he thinks and the actions that he takes. Basically, what happens is it helps us to strive to become better human beings. Okay, next line. Into the heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awaken. So if they were to do so, then India would transform into a heaven where all the countrymen would be truly free. You see in the first line how we started, he wants our countrymen to be free. The same way he ends his poetry by saying, how does he define truly free? He defines truly free by education, believe in God. He wants his countrymen to strive to become perfect. He wants us to expand our horizons, think logically, and very important, he wants us to come together and fight against our enemies rather than fighting amongst ourselves. So these are the 11 lines in which the poem concludes.